What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Weekly Cheddar. As my microphone continues to be a problem, as it always is on StreamYard for some reason. Yeah, we're here on Thursday live, and I freaking am going to lose my mind on this stupid mic very quickly. Not a lot to talk about, obviously. I think, the network and Clayton's obviously going right now, and Packers Total Access just finishing up. We're just here for some Packers and Q&A on Thursday. Couldn't do the show tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of stuff on the channel, of course, tomorrow, which should be exciting. We're kind of back on that swing of things, but wanted to bring the live show to you guys. Chris, how you doing? Good to see you. I didn't really plan a whole lot. I figured, we've gone the Q&A route. We've gone the route of let's just see where kind of the chat takes us, and that's where we'll go. It was really fun. A lot of people dropped their mock drafts after I dropped mine on Monday. It was really fun to go through a lot of those and just take a look at what others are thinking right now. And I mentioned this on Monday. It's a weird time to be mocking for the Packers because you look at what this draft is looking like right now and where the strength is, and it's like, oh, Green Bay's kind of good there, and they're guys at certain positions where you go, traditionally they're not always the best fits in those positions. So it's weird. And my mock I went through, I gave them, I believe I gave them Tyler Nubin in the first round, the safety from Minnesota, who surprised he wasn't in the running for the defensive back award in college football. I forget the name of it, but I think he would be such a welcome addition. I know Cooper DeJean is obviously the favorite from everybody, right? Like there's no secret there, right? Like look at the name for me at the bottom that we're sporting tonight, right? Like it is truly Cooper DeJean season, right? Like that is something that I think Packers fans are fully on board with doing that. So I'm all in. I'm writing something up on Cooper DeJean right now. I assume he's going to declare for the draft. I can't imagine he's going back to Iowa. Not that anything wrong with going back to school, right? But I think that just how talented he is, the athleticism, right? He's a junior. He's, I think he's ready to go, and I think he can provide a lot to the Packers. I think I went with Troy Fountain, who's always very interesting from Washington, the tackle / guard that, and I think Brian, who's obviously here, of course, believes he's going to be the guard, and the Packers would view him as a guard. I believe it's because he's sub 6'4", right? I think it's a height thing where the Packers traditionally don't go that small per se at the tackle position. Chris Jenkins has been a favorite for a lot of people, right, to this point. Is just a strong run defender with athleticism and kind of untapped potential, right, in terms of upside. Christian Haynes, I know Brian's here. He talks about him maybe moving to center, right? He might think that's his best position. Really, really strong at the guard spot, and I really like what he could bring immediately as a right guard. Gave them Marshawn Lloyd from USC. I think he's really elusive, explosive. 5'9", 210. That's not verified, but that's what he's listed as. The running back class is going to be weird. There's rumors that Travion Henderson's going back. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but those reports are swirling about a lot of the offensive players from Ohio State, maybe all returning. Would be absolutely mad if Marvin Harrison Jr. goes back to school, but we haven't seen maybe anything that strange per se, but the NIL makes it a little more interesting in terms of, how much is a certain player going to make, right, relative to where he's picked in the second or third round. If you're a star at your school, maybe you go back for a couple million and that makes more sense to you. So it's hard to say, but the running back class is going to be weird, especially if Henderson goes back. So I gave them Lloyd. I gave them Junior Colson. I do think linebacker is going to be something interesting for them to look at, just because I know Barrett Carter, Clemson linebacker, one of the two studs from Clemson, he went back to school. So a little bit of a hit there to the class. Junior Colson may go back as well. We'll see. And then I gave them Kyrie Jackson from Oregon, 6'3", 195. Played really well against Washington. I gave Rome Odunze some headaches in that championship game. Yeah, so Brian says 6'3.5" for Troy. Yeah, that feels like you've said, Brian, that feels more of like Green Bay goes, yeah, that's a guard. That's not a tackle. He's played there, right? But they would view him as, okay, this is traditionally how we operate, right? We're taking a tackle who's played tackle. We're moving him inside. We'll maybe try him at both, but he's likely going to be inside. Colson's a Kawano favorite. Yeah, I know. Come on, Brian. Kawano's big on all the Michigan guys, right? You know. Chris, does Cooper go top 20? Great question. It feels like with how he probably will test that it's going to be the case. I think top 20 feels like just a near guarantee, just because I think you've seen and if you watch, like, you know, what Brugler's talking about with some guys, and DJ's going to have a lot of scoops once the kind of process starts for most people. Kool-Aid McKinstry, there's the feel out there that like some like Terrion Arnold better. Then there's Nate Wiggins. There may not be a consensus to who's cornerback one in a class. And if Cooper is viewed as a corner by some team, good chance he goes top 20. I think if you, I'm going to bring up, I'm not going to bring it up on screen. But I mean, the top 20 of the draft order right now, obviously Green Bay sitting at 20 currently. When you look up and down the board, like when you take a look, LA Rams, they've got young talent, but they could use a guy like Cooper DeJean. The Chargers could absolutely use a guy like Cooper DeJean. Vegas, same way. Yeah, it's probably, there's not going to be a top 10 discussion with DeJean. I think it's going to start probably in that 10 to 12 area. It's just a matter of who's picking in the teens. And, you know, Green Bay, I think if they stay at 20, if that's where they end up, I think they have a decent chance to select him, right? It's just, again, if some team views him as a safety and they really want him to play safety, they're really high on him. They're really high on the versatility of that type of player. It's hard to say because I think the athleticism is going to be very good. The testing is going to be pretty strong overall. Yeah, Patrick Paul at 20. It's interesting because, Brian, I remember, I think the last mock draft I did for my Substack, I'm pretty sure I put Paul at like 16th to the Jets when the Jets were in that spot. Obviously, they're a lot higher now. They're at 6, but I think we're going to either Patrick Paul, it's going to go one of two ways. Patrick Paul is either going to just lock down guys, including maybe Latu, down at the Senior Bowl to the point where like it's like, yep, shut it down, done. He is athletically what teams need him to be. And then at the same time, he is, you know, again, just a dominant pass protector with the strength, the length, everything to kind of corral guys and really not give up an inch. He could be in that conversation because I think you're going to get interesting conversations about J.C. Latham and Taliesin Fuaga as guys who are right tackles, right? Graham Barton, as good as he might be, probably going to be an interior player. So when you have, you know, teams looking up and down for tackles, Patrick Paul could be that guy to rise. It would not shock me one bit. But yeah, as far as like declares go, there's been a decent amount of them. Obviously, a lot of them are going to the Senior Bowl anyway, but they have to declare in a post because of all the eligibility stuff, which is just kind of whack, to be perfectly honest. Like it is, and with the transfer portal stuff, guys, I'm driving myself insane because every time one of these guys posts something, you never know. It's like, oh, well, maybe he's declaring, maybe he's, you know, oh, I'm coming back, or I'm in the transfer portal, right? So there's a lot of guys in the portal right now. Princely Umanmaleen is one of them, the edge rusher from Florida. Like he might, no idea if he's going back or if he's, you know, looking around. Maybe he won't transfer and he'll enter the draft. It's going to be a lot in the next month before that deadline passes. Yeah, Brugler, Barton at center 1. I feel like Barton, that's probably where he's just going to end up, right? He's going to be, he might be the Jonah Williams of this class, where it's like, could he maybe survive at tackle? It's possible, but you clearly see the length deficiencies, and some team, you know, just decides, okay, yeah, like this is, we understand we're not going to make the Jonah Williams mistake, right? Where Williams is basically going to be a free agent, I think, after the season for Cincinnati, and the team's just going to be like, well, you know, we'll just plug him in at center. We need a center. Like that is 100% something I could see the Pittsburgh Steelers doing at 23. They need a center. and they're very usually, at least, very direct about what they're doing. At least by the time the draft comes around, and they'll just be like, yeah, we need center, right? Like center's a need for us, and corner's a need, and they, if Wiggins, McKinstry, Arnold, and Cooper are off the board, like they'll just take Barton. Like that just seems like a team that just goes, yep, we need a center. He's a center, great, done. Princely playing with his brother, that's possible. I think that's out west, I believe, right? I think I think that's entirely possible. That's something I could see happening. But yeah, there's a lot about, right, the Travion Henderson thing, right, and Marvin Harrison Jr., all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see kind of Nebraska. I knew it was a red team. I don't know why Utah was in my head. It didn't make sense. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, we'll take the draft questions. We'll kind of hang out for a while. I know probably everybody's enjoying Steelers Patriots, which makes sense. Totally understandable, right? Where it's not the normal time. It's not Friday night, so we don't got the big crowd in here. It's a little bit later, all that stuff. But yeah, we'll hang out for a while until we kind of run out of questions. Maybe for those who are here, maybe we run through a mock draft just for fun and just see how the Packers kind of work the board and whatnot. Maybe we'll do all 7 rounds. But yeah, the draft is exciting because we're getting right in that point, and I know it's fun because Green Bay is in the mix, so it's not as like this niche. We're not totally looking at the draft right now. This is playoff focused. This is contention focused over everything else. So, all right, Chris is down for a mock. We can pull it up. Let's do that. Let's pull up a mock draft here. I will pull it up and we'll get that on the screen and rolling here. Have to pull it up. Yeah, because Green Bay, we're sitting at 20. How many rounds do we want to do, chat? How many rounds are we thinking? All of them? Should we do all 7? I actually haven't even done all 7 yet. So that would be fun if we want to do 7 rounds. All right, Brian's in for 7. Okay, like that. All right, Chris is in for 7. All right, everybody's in for 7. Cool. Okay, let's do that then. Pull up a 7. We'll go fast. Okay. Right. Okay, here we go. Mock drafting on. I'm gonna change the banner real quick before we get started. Okay, just so everybody's very clear with what we're doing this evening. Okay, cool. All right, I'll take this off the screen if we have to. But that's what we'll roll with. Okay, so. All right, yeah, pick 20. I don't think we're going to be moving up, right? There's going to be none of that. We're gonna stay where we're at. We're gonna pick. Chris appreciates you, man, with the $5. Yes, I did set it up. I was trying to get all the monetization stuff rolling back again because it shuts off because it's got to verify a bunch of stuff. But Chris, always appreciate donos like that. Again, don't have to do it. But it's very much appreciated. So let's roll. I will kind of maybe we'll do this we'll get this off the screen for you guys so we can see everything. All right, let's roll here. We'll start. This thing rolls really quickly. Well, guys, it's great news, isn't it? It's excellent news because our guy is here. It can be real simple. It can be real simple, chat. Brian W is hoping that Cooper is available at 20 any season, folks. We can make this happen. It feels like the direction. Like if you look at just kind of like as we look through this, right? Well, we'll kind of discuss the options, right? We'll pretend we have 10 minutes on the clock. We won't take all 10 minutes, but right, like Taliesin Fuaga he's going to get mocked to the Packers a lot. He's already getting mocked to the Packers a lot. If you look at mock drafts, right? I don't know if, Brian, you're thumbs downing Cooper DeJean or your thumbs downing something else. If your thumbs down on Cooper DeJean, we gotta chat. We gotta chat. Can obviously trade back. Patriots want to come up from 34. Did they go QB? They didn't. Whoa. Yo, that's kind of wild. Wow. Brian's not a Cooper DeJean guy. Interesting. He was not. I did not see that coming. Well, so the Patriots would love to come up here and get a QB, I think. We're not going to let them do that. So Brian W says exactly what the defense needs. I don't think we trade. Trading down's lame. Not in the first. That's interesting. I assume, Brian, it's only based on 2023 film, because 2022 film tells me it's a no-brainer. Yeah, Chris makes a good point. They probably do want Cooper DeJean. But we'll vote. We'll have some votes. We're going to just talk really quick about a few of these guys. I don't think Taliesa is a Packer. To me, it just doesn't seem right. It's not what they prioritize, right? These big, stronger mauling types, the old school right tackle look. I don't think that they're going to be as interested, right, in these two players, Fuaga and Latham. I just think it's not their MO. It has never been their MO, a tackle. So I don't think either of them is going to be on the board. Now, I know which direction Brian wants to go in. That's Brian M, right? Brian says not in the first, based on him converting to safety. So he thinks he's a safety. Adam, yeah. So I think, yeah, Kalen Carson as a first rounder seems a little rich right now. I think we can maneuver the board. We can get him. We can get him a little later. So Chris is on board with Cooper, obviously. Fuaga, yeah. I mean, I think he's quick, actually, Adam. I don't think he's like necessarily like, he's not like unagile. He's not like a stiff player per se. He's just not the MO. Like, it is not like 330 plus, he might even be in the 325 range, but still, like, he is just not the type of player they covet. Now, Brian W, he is rated as a first rounder, but we know, 20 out of 32 probably going to end up busting. So it's like, we're looking at this going, okay, do we believe in DeJean over some other guys? And I knew that Brian Maffey was going to be in on Cam Kinchins. But like DeJean, I think Kinchins' film from 2023 is nowhere near as good as it was in 22. Personally, I think it's reckless. I think there are just bad decisions out there, but the athleticism and the ability to create turnovers is very, very good. We're not doing this. We're not doing Penix stuff. Mims is in that same boat. He's 6'7", 340. So it brings about like Tyler Nubin, Graham Barton. Are they going to go center in the first? I don't think they will. And then we could have some serious fun, right? We could go Xavier Legette. Yeah, 6'3", 225. Big, strong, fast, right? Like, he is exciting. Obviously, Terrion Arnold, who Dane Brugler has mocked to Green Bay, and I think someone else did in the last week as well, that's interesting, right? Will they like a JT Tuimoloau? Perhaps. But I think it's going to come down to one of these two, right? Will it be DeJean? Will it be Kinchins? Because I will point this out. Okay, so I want everybody to get their votes in. Who would they like to see the Packers pick here? Because we'll let y'all control where we go. Okay. Kinchins did struggle, yes, but he also did have a kind of a freak injury. It was like, Brian, was it like a neck injury against Texas A&M? I forget what it was. So So here's my thing, Adam. I'm almost certain that DeJean is going to get a lot of looks as a safety and slot corner. Right? Okay, yeah, it was the neck injury. I think that a lot of teams are going to look at DeJean's film from 2022, and this is something I went through a lot, and I have a post coming out tomorrow for those interested. He looks more comfortable as a box slot player and as a safety than he does as a corner. I think that as a corner, he's still solid. He does a lot of things well, but I'm not sure that every team is. I don't think the consensus is going to be on him being this is 100% a corner, right? There's no debate about it. He'll be a freakier athlete, but he's going to get a label that's more along the lines of a Brian Branch and a Kyle Hamilton than he is a Derek Stingley Jr., right? Like I do think that's how he's going to be viewed. So let's for a second here, okay? Just to do so, okay? Because we have about 4 minutes left on the clock, okay? Before we pick. All right, I'm timing us. We got 10 minutes in the first round, right? So my issue here is I think, like Brian has pretty much said here, let's view DeJean as a safety slot hybrid, Kyle Hamilton-ish type of player. Now what are we doing? Okay, because right now, ultimately, am I going to make the pick? I guess, but I want to hear from this is basically we're going to treat this like all of you guys in the comments are the scouts. You're coming to me and you're saying, all right, I'm going to stand on the table for this player. Okay. So, and this is the thing. People fell in love with an Iowa corner who didn't quite fit the scheme when they drafted him to play corner. Josh Jackson. Not ideal. We don't want to make that mistake again. Not saying he's the same player, but I think he is just going to fit a lot better as a guy who can move around a lot, not going to be a corner the full time, and it's going to allow you to put 5 DBs on the field that you really like. So now what do we do? Do we want to take the receiver? Do we want to go wait on the board and take Terrion Arnold at corner? Do we want to take Fautanu to play some tackle / guard, perhaps? You know, how far are we going to go down for Patrick Paul, right? So, chat, I need the votes. Let's get the votes in right now on who we're going to pick here in the first. If we want to take, if the consensus is on DeJean, we'll take DeJean. But we're going to probably play him in the slot and as a safety. That's all I'm going to say. So let's figure out where we're going to be at here. I know Brian's going to vote Kinchins, right, as a safety. But if everybody wants DeJean, everybody else wants DeJean, we'll take him. We'll take him. But I'm not going to be done, I don't think. And we shouldn't be done in this mock looking at corner them. So let's do that. Let's get some votes in. So we got a Kinchins. We need that Hamilton type, versatile safety slot. Okay. Other Brian votes to Gene. Okay, so looks like 2 for DeJean so far, 1 for Kinchins. We have about 1 minute left on the clock. Here, the commissioner's getting worried. He's wondering if we're passing and letting the Vikings pick. I don't want to do that. Okay. So 2 votes for Kinchins, and we're going to have to break the tie here. We're going to have to break the tie. If Adam is still here, he might have to break a tie for us. Because we got 2 for DeJean and 2 for Kinchins. If we don't get another vote in time, I guess I'm being the tiebreaker, and we'll go from there. Okay? I will be the tie-breaking vote if I need to be. But it's turning into the movie Draft Day, and the time is running out on all of us right here. All right, so because it doesn't look like we're getting another vote, I'm going to make the executive decision. Let's, for fun, because DeJean's in a lot of mocks, let's take Cam Kinchins from Miami. Boom. We're taking Kinchins over to DeJean. Okay. So that was the move. All right. We did the thing. We did the thing that maybe not everybody wanted, but now we got to regroup. Okay. We're going to regroup. We got a lot of picks left to make. Okay. So the Vikings took Penix. Ibuka comes off. DeJean goes to Jacksonville. Boy, Brian. We can't. One pick, and we're out on a Super Bowl. The draft is not one round. We shall redeem it for you if we can. Okay. We'll get this. Nice. Okay. We'll get this work done right here. All right. I believe in all of you right here to get this draft right. Now, Marius Mims is still on the board. I know he's not their type, but holy smokes, at 38. Now, Fontenot is still here, of course. Right. Quinyon Mitchell. A lot of people like Quinyon Mitchell. Okay, like that is oops. There we go. Sorry about that. So I think we could trade down. At the same time, we're picking at 52. So like this, we don't have to do anything too crazy. Like we're picking pretty quick after this. So unless like somebody has brought about a trade that's interesting, looks like our trade down candidates are all the way back in the 60s. So I'm not thrilled with that. Cheddar. Who's he? Wait, who are we talking about here? Oh, Fauci. Okay. I get what you're saying. Troy Fautanu, yeah. Shadur Sanders. Brian, you chaotic man. We can't be doing that around here. We'll have to take one at some point, Brian, but maybe not right here. So I think for options, I mean, obviously Amarius Mims, like I get it, right? Like he isn't exactly what they like, but, and this is the reason why right here, 6'7", 340. That's often what it is, right? But I think it's pretty darn good value. So if we want to go that direction, I'm not going to be upset about that. Trade down 2 to 5 spots like we did in the 2023 draft. Not a bad idea if somebody wanted to. I'm going to operate under the assumption that the teams that want to move up right now are these teams. It's Detroit at 60. It's the Niners at 61 and the Cardinals at 67. So not anybody's looking to move up a few spots. So we're going to have to stick and pick. Now, Brian has brought up Jonah Ellis, which I think is interesting. So if we go look at Ellis really quickly, okay, we look at Jonah Ellis, and we see that 6'2", 246 is a little light. It's a little light in the pants, right, for the player that Green Bay often covets on the edge. Now, Enigbari was a little bit more undersized, right? That is, but he was still in the 250s, if I believe. But the pass rush grade's outstanding. Pass rush room rate, 18.9%. Right, he dominated in quite a few games this year. UCLA and Cal did really nice, according to PFF. So, but we have our safety guys. If we want to go Tampa or we want to go Quinyon Mitchell, we could do that. Quinyon Mitchell, 2 years of elite play, 6 foot, 196. Now, Tampa's bigger, right? 6'2", 200, unverified. We could do this too. But Chad, I need your help on this. We gotta make some calls. Landon Jackson at 6'7", 281 as a junior. That kind of makes sense a little bit. So, all right. So Green Bay does need a speed rusher to mix in for those clean wins at some point, but I don't think we need that guy yet. Let Van Ness get some reps. Okay. So do we want to go TJ Tampa? We get the corner here after getting our safety in the first. We rebuild the secondary, and there's a chance, folks, that some tackles are going to be on the board when we pick again at 52. I prefer D-line or tight end. I don't know if D-line, okay, we can look at D-line, but this is the other thing, okay? We want to pick for value, right? Chris Jenkins is here, but he might be available when we pick again. So if we want to do the corner thing, I know a lot of people are like this guy, Kalen Carson, 6 foot 195, right? He's at 78th on this board here. So that's possible. Now, this is an interesting point, right? We could go linebacker. Not impossible. If we want to go that route, I think we have options later. Cooper's not big, right? He's a good he's the grades as a run stuffer are good. 230 is a little light for what Green Bay looks for at linebacker, is my only thing. If you look at linebacker as a whole, right, there's some guys down here. Now, Barrett Carter, obviously not going to be in the mix. Peyton Wilson, a little bit bigger, 238. That's a little bit closer to what we would like, probably, right? And the run stuffing is still good, according to PFF. Junior Colson, guy I like quite a bit. Linebacker feels like it can wait. Okay. But if we want to go Chris Jenkins, we can do that right now. I'm not going to be opposed to it. Run stuffer, high character guy. I'm not opposed to that. What are we doing, chat? What do we want to do? What are we thinking here? Because if we feel like tackle is important and we want to go here, we can do that. Less guys who can tackle and who catch, tackle, and impose need a headhunter. Why is Jenkins not a first rounder? I just think it's he didn't dominate right here. Let's so let's go to him really fast. Where is he? Let's go to him. And I know, again, PFF not the end all be all, of course, but he's definitely at this point, and I agree with this assessment in terms of their grades. I truly think right now he's just a great run stuffer who has not figured it out as a pass rusher yet. Like, the best pass rushing defensive tackle in the class is clearly Jerzon Newton to this point. Leonard Taylor has the upside of a pass rusher. He's just not consistent. Chris Jenkins is overall really solid as a run defender right now. Now, when his testing numbers go through the roof, could he sneak into the first? I think he could, right? I think that's very possible. But I think there's a chance that he just kind of stays in that top 50 area, right? Okay. John Kennedy says, stop spending premier picks on defense. Start building up the offense. I mean, the offense looks pretty good right now. Where do we want to build? Left tackle? Right. Mastermind says we need a premier left tackle. Bach ain't coming back. We could go tackle. Eric's Joy, I'm not opposed to going offense. Don't want to add a receiver. I'm convinced with Watson for the X, and none of the prospects entice me enough. That's fair. Brian W. thinks Jenkins isn't quite complete. Yeah, this is fair. This is an upside play a little bit. Eric's Joy says he's good with going offensive tackle, otherwise D-line. Steve Heilmeyer votes for Mims. Value too good. Is he better than the last Michigan defensive tackle, the one who went to Dallas? I think Mozzie Smith was more of the one tech, right? Like, he is the true, like, you're going to stick him probably at one tech, shade a little bit of 2I, right? And he'll be involved there. Jenkins is a little, I think Mozzie Smith was like 320, right? He weighed a lot, 320, if I remember correctly. And Jenkins weighs 305. So he's more of the 3 tech, but still like, okay, I'll be able to sit in a gap, and you can count on me, as a run defender. So it's just more of a size thing and where they're going to play along the line than anything else. So that's why I think, is he better? Maybe. I think they're about the same. Mastermind says, who's the best left tackle? Well, we can look at that, even though the time probably ran out on us. Obviously, Amarius Mims, the value is exceptional here, right? I think a lot of people would agree. He's just, I don't know if he is the type for Green Bay, right? Like, I think Patrick Paul would be the dude right here for Green Bay. If you want the left tackle, I think it's Patrick Paul. Clayton, my guy, coming in, very much appreciated. A $5 super chat. Never too early to talk NFL draft. Clayton knows me very well. Thanks for taking the time to share this info, Jake. Hey man, we're all just trying to have a nice evening, and kind of maybe avoid watching the Patriots Steelers game, which I don't even know how that's going to this point. Like, have they hit the over? Is that something that they've done to this point? I don't even know. Is it halftime? How's the game going? So Appreciate you, Clayton. That's very generous. Did not need to do that, but he dropped one anyway. Love it. Brian W says we can draft a line later. Zinter and Blake Fisher. Zinter, good right guard. That kind of fits. But if we want the left tackle, it's going to start to get pretty thin as we get to maybe the third round. Who are the other 2 to 3 best players available? So it's Mims is the top guy. Shadur Sanders, Jalen Polk, Jonah Ellis, edge rusher. Troy Fountainu, TJ Tampa, who Brian Maffey brought up pretty quickly when we got to this selection. And Landon Jackson, 6'7", 281. Quinyon Mitchell's a nice corner, 2 elite years at Toledo. So to me, if it were me and we were trying to sprinkle a little bit of predictive sauce on there along with needs and value, I think TJ Tampa makes a lot of sense here at corner. But if we want to switch things over to offense, I think they would consider Patrick Paul, even here at 38, over Mims. Clayton says dumpster fire. Pat's winning 21-10, so they've already hit the over. Over-under was 30. Crazy. That's wild. Wow. See, everybody thought the over was in play, and it was always a pretty good call. So, yeah, this is where we sit. I think if it were me, I'd say trade back. Yeah, but we've gone over this a little bit. Like the 3 offers right now are in the 60s. So I'm not going to try to formulate with trade with somebody in the 40s. It's just we gotta go some direction here. So Airjoy says trade back Valentine to Stokes. You can go cornerback swings later. Pats are freaking out over losing pick 2. I would as well. Losing pick 2 would really stink, honestly. So we want to take later cornerback swings. I'm fine with taking Chris Jenkins here. I'm fine with taking Patrick Paul. If we want to do Amarius Mims just for the heck of it because the value is exceptional, let's do that. What do we think, chat? Where are we going here? What position do we want to go? And for those like Clayton who just joined, don't know if you saw what we did in the first round. We took safety Cameron Kinchins from Miami. So we're in the safety boat already. But I'm open to what we think. Everybody seems to want every other position later. See, D-line for the second rounder. I think there's a chance Jenkins falls there, but we might not get him. So, yeah, Clay, we got a ball hawk in the secondary. Dude's got range. Dude hits hard. He's big, strong, fast. Jenkins or a left tackle, says Chris. Okay. Let's because I think it's more premium here. Mastermind says act as if you're Matt LaFleur. If I'm Matt LaFleur, I'm going to make sure I snag my left tackle here. I'm not going to wait. Back to Jenkins. He's Cullen Jenkins' nephew, folks. So there you go. If you really want in on that. John Kennedy wants Mims. Biggest need? I think we addressed it. We addressed safety, but I to me, tackle's a bigger need, right? I think tackle's the biggest need right now because Bakhtiari's uncertainty and maybe we are okay with but don't love the play of Rasheed Walker. Let's try something, okay, chat? I'm going to take Patrick Paul here to be the left tackle, okay? Because the offensive line needs across the entire league are massive right now. So let's do that. We're going to take Patrick Paul. We're going to see how things fall here, okay? We're going to see how it falls. Oh, yes, folks, we are good. Let's share the great news. Bam, he's here. He's here and he's perfect. He's here and he's perfect. Folks, it's a great second round for the Packers. So everybody who's in on Jenkins, he's here. So there you go. Brian, I'm glad you're enjoying. Hope you subscribed. Hope you like the stream. It's good to see some new people in here tonight. John Kennedy says, as long as it's offense, we took the left tackle, we took Patrick Paul. Okay, and Ayers Joy agrees. Solidified loves protection and future. And Brian said Patrick Paul's his pick. We took Patrick Paul. And the great news, as Clayton's saying, let's go. Chris Jenkins right here. If we want to take him right now, how about it? Right, what a start this would be. if this was the real draft and we were 5 months down the line here, 4 months ish down the line, and this was lining up really, really well. If we want to look elsewhere really quick, just to see what's here, right? You got Shedeur Sanders still here. To me, it feels like he is going back to school. I don't think he is declaring. Personally, if I were him, I would transfer, but he's obviously not going to go somewhere where his dad isn't coaching, right? But boy, they need O-line help. TJ Tampa still here at corner. Like we mentioned, Princely Unmanmaline is potentially going to, like Brian Maffey said earlier, go play with his brother at Nebraska. He was in the transfer portal. Jatavian Sanders, tight end, pretty good player. I don't love the tight ends in this class too much in this area. Then you have a couple guys from Oregon, Brendan Dorless, hybrid player, kind of the player they like. Okay. Believe it or not, this is the type of player they like. Okay. True pass set pass rush grade is an 89. 6'3", 290. This is the type of player like a Brooks, like a Wooden. Like, we can move this guy all over the place, right? Like, we can do so much with Dorless on the D line. But yeah, I think Chris is in on take him. John says Jenkins, I'm good with Jenkins. I'm good with now for the defense. Go blue. Adam, I believe this was a response to Shedeur because I agree. I don't think, honestly, I don't think he should be in this simulator anymore. I think it's very clear he's going back. Clayton is a great question. I don't know if Chris Jenkins' teammates attended his 21st birthday party. Frankly, I actually don't know how old he is. He might be a junior. So, yeah. Oh no, he's a senior. So, he's already had a 21st birthday. Who knows? Let's hope they did. No, we've done a lot of research, right? Obviously, right? Like all of us, I consider us right now the Packers draft room. I think we've done our research, right? Brian's psyched. Brian should be psyched about this draft right now. Okay. Brian should be over the moon. Okay. We took his guy in Kinchins. We took his guy in Patrick Paul. Brian's having a day. Okay. So, if we have to get an edge, just not another power rusher. I just think that's what their MO is. The speed to power dudes, right? And for the deal, the opposite, not another light speed guy. I just don't think that Green Bay is going to, and I'll bring this up. I don't think Green Bay is going to do this, okay? I don't think they're going to come down here and go, even though this is unreal stuff that we're seeing right here, numbers-wise, 6'4", 362, I don't think they're going to take T'Vondre Sweat. I also think T'Vondre Sweat, personally, like we're sitting at 72, we're sitting at pick 52, he's going to be off the board by now. Like, genuinely, that's what I think. So there you go. Brian W says slightly off topic. That's okay. Usually that's where we're at. It's just we weren't off topic at the beginning, so we decided to run a mock draft. Harrison might return to Ohio State. He's probably freaking out about going to the Bears. Listen, they might offer him $5 million to come back, Ohio State. And I know he has talked about, like, he has legitimately talked about this. He's like, okay, I wanted to, in this final season of mine, beat that team up north, win the Big Ten, and he didn't get to do it. Right? Like, he did not. It didn't happen. So I'm sure he's contemplating it, but like the money he's going to get, and like he might even go to Chicago, Brian. Like, there's a possibility that, I'm going to scroll up really quick because we have the order here. There's a possibility that Chicago goes QB at 1. Okay. Then the Patriots go QB at 2, which they didn't do here, but let's just say that for just because that's probably what's going to be, right? They go QB. Harrison's going to go to the Cardinals at 3. I'm almost positive that becomes the case, right? So him playing with Kyler Murray, I think that would be a lot of fun. I think Murray could feed him the ball. Like him, McBride in that offense, like they could have a lot of fun. But I do think he is saying he's mulling it over. I don't know how real that is. For Sanders, right? Yeah, we are towards the bottom of the run defense again, right? Like this is how the Joe Barry defense is operated, right? They're going to give up the run. They're going to favor limiting explosive plays in the passing game. And that's just how it does. Jackson Powers Johnson is a guard center. He's been really good at center, Brian. He has been really, really good at center for Oregon this year. Really pleased with how well he's playing. Just feels like he is in complete control when he plays. Pass protection, he's setting stuff at the line, right? Him and Nix are really in control of that offense with protections and everything like that. He's a good gap. He's good in run blocking as a gap run blocker for a lot of gap scheme stuff. And I think his vision, right, the power, the extension, the balance that he generates in pass protection is very, very good. Yeah, if it keeps going, Green Bay will be soft for another decade. But yeah, they are built to stop a Mahomes, a Josh Allen, a Justin Herbert, right? These guys a Joe Burrow, all of them who have had to adjust to, okay, 15 play drives. Can you get a touchdown? Maybe, maybe not, right? JPJ more of a center? Yeah, probably. Antonio, what's going on, Antonio? Good to see you. I don't think I've seen you in here. So welcome. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is just like his dad, a monster in the middle. Pack have to take him. I agree with what Brian says here, Antonio. He's a little bit smaller than they like. He's going to be a little bit smaller linebacker, but he's a dog. No doubt about it. He is tough. He plays fast. Really impressive. Mastermind says anyone that we get on defense has to be good against the run. I think we need to start paying more attention to that. I think they do. It's just a question of will they philosophically get to that point where they go, okay, we got to find some defensive linemen who defend the run really, really well. JPJ would be there if they decide to move on from Myers. Yeah, I just think Myers is playing well enough. Right? Is he a great center? No. Is he playing well enough that they'll probably stick with him another year? I think so. We've had really good pass D for a long time. Hasn't gotten us to top 5 defense. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the personnel right now, I think the secondary, in terms of personnel, I think, we're sitting here like, they need help, right? Safety, corner, I think all are on the table. That's why you see a lot of that being mocked to Green Bay right now. So we're not top 5, but we're not horrendous at least. Adam says, can we draft a new DC? Ayers Joy agrees. That'd be solid. Yes. If the Bears stay with Fields, Brian, I think they'll just swap 1 and 2 with New England, let New England get the number 1 pick, take a QB, take Harrison at 2. That would be my guess. Yeah. To me, Ayers Joy, I'm thinking of like what the Packers think, right? I think you and I and most people here probably believe that, this is what Green Bay is. They're building to stop the pass. They're not too concerned about the run game. It stinks. It's just how it is. Ian, what's going on? Good to see you back here. How many running backs do you think the Packers draft this year? At least 2. I think we're going to take at least 2 in this mock. Obviously, we're stuck here at pick 52. I'm going to pick Chris Jenkins for us here, and we'll get us rolling here again. But yeah, I think they're going to take at least 2. I agree. Myers is well enough, and Ryan should be starting. Yeah, Ryan got kind of sunned by Chris Jones. So did Runyon, obviously, but it is what it is. Yeah, Brian is in agreement. Ian, on your question, says 2. Green Bay, we need to stop the run. Yeah, no, they don't believe they need to stop the run, Adam. We know this. Yeah, we need to replenish all over the low line. I think we're going to get there. Jenkins is a good run defender. Running back class is getting thin if Henderson is indeed going back. So here, folks, let's take Chris Jenkins. Let's get this thing rolling here again. So we can get this mock done, and then we can just kind of talk draft if we want to at the end here. So we're not taking Quinn Ewers or Michael Pratt. Michael Pratt, that'd be interesting. I think the obvious pick here to me is Christian Haynes, guard out of Connecticut. I think he's just really well-rounded. 6'2", 313. Really like the quicks. Really like his ability in zone run, his ability in pass protection. Right, like I think that's just where we go here with Christian Haynes. I think it's an easy selection. Now, could you talk me into some other guys potentially? There you go. John Kennedy's in on doing that. Haynes, future center, perhaps. I think we give him the benefit of the doubt and see what he can do at guard. But is Pratt officially in the draft? No, there's not many guys who have officially declared to this point. Which could render some of this, moot a little bit. Pratt did accept a Senior Bowl invite, though. So there is that. There is that bit going on there, right? He did accept the Senior Bowl invite. Now, obviously, he can rescind that, acceptance and, transfer to a school if he wants to, right? But I think he's actually played pretty well. Like he has done a pretty good job this year. Has it been perfect? No. That's why he's a developmental player that, is available right now in this spot. Um, and Brian Maffei, of course, move Myers to guard. A possibility. Could do that. Maybe we give Christian Haynes the keys to the car, right? In terms of protections and all that. So, what do we think, chat? What do we want to do here? I'm very in on Christian Haynes. Javon Bullard, he's taken snaps in a lot of spots. 126 in the slot this year. He had 510 in the slot last year. So he's taken more snaps deep, but we've seen him be able to play in the slot. Has an 80.4 grade last year. I'd be fine with taking Bullard here as well. Could go Maris Lufau, linebacker, 6'2", 239. This kind of fits more of what they would like. Now, run defense, maybe you don't like this number and you like the coverage grade. Probably don't like the missed tackle rate. That's, a couple red flags. But could go Donovan Edwards. He has not been very good this year, unfortunately. Just doesn't look like things are clicking with him in terms of vision. However, he is an explosive playmaker. Could do that. If we didn't go tackle already, Kieran Amedeje, he only played 4 games, got hurt. But man, he is an exciting player. Wish we were going to see him down in Mobile. Mason Smith is the type of player Green Bay would definitely look at, right? 6'6", 315, a redshirt junior. If we didn't take Chris Jenkins, I think we'd be all over that. Truthfully, though, I think where we're at right now, I think it's Bullard or Haynes, right? I think it's one of these two guys right here. Unless, of course, sorry, not this guy. Unless, of course, we go this direction, right? How does that feel? How do we feel about going edge? Jack Sawyer. Like, I'm just saying, like, I think Green Bay could very much be in this boat where they go, oh yeah, edge rusher is best player on the board. Yeah, we'll probably do that, right? Adam says Donovan feels like he's going to transfer. It's possible. He just is not. He doesn't have great feel between the tackles. He needs to get in space. How many teams are there that are more well balanced than the Eagles or Niners type mold rather than pass happy? Some point when Green Bay goes to the playoffs in the future, we're going to see more potent, I assume potent rushing offenses that we're going to have to defend against. No, it's for sure. For sure. And I think that, it's going to be, listen, they went in 2019 and they got shredded by the Niners. Like yes, at some point they're going to have to do that. Haynes played tackle. No, he is not. So that's the one drawback, right? It's legitimately only right guard. Like this is a true, Adam. This is a true. Oh yes, plug him into the spot that he plays that Green Bay needs. That's it. But now, like Brian said, he could play some center, right? Maybe he is a center, and you move Myers, right? Brian says no to Sawyer. Not sure why. He's pretty big dude. Brian W says Haynes. Mason Smith, a big drop. Yeah, Mason Smith has dropped a ton. It's just because I believe. Oh no, he did play. He played one game in 2022. That's when he didn't play a lot. So it's it hasn't completely clicked, but I will say he's a better pass rusher than he is a run defender, and you know who likes that? Green Bay. Now we just took Jenkins, so I'm not going to do that. But John Kennedy says no, Ohio. Yeah, Edwards could go back. It's very possible, Brian, with Corum leaving for sure. Would love to get all the edge rushers. Need only the alien athletes. Yeah, that's true. Brian, I know what. Yeah, I know what Adam said, and but going edge, I want a Brian Burns, Josh Allen type. I mean, this is. Listen, this is impressive here. You can pass rush win rate, pass that pass rush grade, well-rounded player. right? Great games down the stretch. Oh, can I check the trade offer? Sure. I mean, we're picking in like 6 picks, right? Brian, we're picking in like 6 more picks. So we're going to be back to back almost here, right? Like we have 78 and then we're 84, right? So these are going to be from like way further back. 91 and 101 are where the trade offers are from. So let's say for time's sake, we're going between Sawyer, Haynes, and Bullard. That's where we're going to stick, right? Bullard becomes the slot player for Green Bay. Maybe play some safety as well. Haynes fills a need or potentially pushes Myers to right guard, and Sawyer just because he's an edge rusher and Green Bay loves him. Those are the 3. Let's keep it to that so we can get out of the 3rd round here with some time to kind of finish this mock. So where are we going, chat? Where do we want to go? What are we thinking? Is this where the wall is, where the cliff is in terms of talent? I don't think so. I obviously like you want to hit some premium spots like edge rusher, right? Tackle, all that stuff to where like, okay, you're going to look at running back and there's going to be a lot of names, right? You see all of these names where running back's going to be available later. Edge rusher, I feel like there is more of a cliff, right? There's just more of a cliff here with Sawyer, Isaac's fine, Nealand and Murphy are interesting, and then it kind of just falls off, right? Nelson Caesar's interesting, but it sort of starts falling off at a lot of the key positions, right? Receiver's going to start falling off a little bit, folks. This is the Christian Watson of this draft. If anybody was interested, right, can win some contested balls, has an interesting drop rate, right? Not great against man coverage, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Adam, I get what you're saying. I think that obviously that's the case, right? It feels like there will always be diamonds in the rough on day 3. Just got to find them, right? That's what we're trying to do. Mastermind says pick Haynes. Running needs to go. Packers need a few running backs. It's time. I will say, like, we're picking in 6 picks, so we can go running back. Lloyd, Irving, Estime, Henderson, right? All of these guys are still here. I personally, I think if we would have had DeJean, then Bullard would be the pick. I mean, I think both can play slot and deep safety, right? Like we don't have to. Bullard doesn't have to be penciled in to be a deep guy either, right? But Kinchins is your deep safety. Bullard plays your nickel. But folks, let's push this along a little bit. Let's take Christian Haynes, okay? And we'll kind of regroup at pick 84. We'll see what's there. Bullard unfortunately goes, and so does Sawyer, of course. Rook Orororo goes as well to Seattle. But Pratt's still here, right? All the running backs are still available. What are we thinking? Is it running back time? Does everybody agree with Chris? Is it running back time? I'm fine with it being running back time, right? I think that is fine. We can take a peek. Thoughts on Savage coming back? Maybe move to nickel. It's possible. He is such a good robber player, right? Like working in the middle of the field where he can use the range and the speed that he has is so good. To where like if he could work on technique in the nickel spot, I think he could do it. Obviously, would love to have Keyshawn there for a while. I think he's starting to really come into his own, but it's a possibility, right? Like Green Bay's going to have options with nickel where it could do it in free agency, and then the draft potentially becomes moot at that position. I think it seems like Ayers Joy, Mastermind, they're in on going running back. So if we're going running back, where do we want to go? Okay. Oh, Ian is in as well. All right. Running back time. Marshawn Lloyd. He's elusive as heck. So 5'9", 210. I think he's going to be just within the thresholds for them. Really like how well he's played. Like this is Marshawn Lloyd is 100% the lightning to the thunder of AJ Dillon if AJ Dillon comes back. Now, right, if AJ Dillon does not, so missed tackles force 47, that's middle of the pack, right? He does have mixed attempts, right? Zone and gap. He's done both, which is nice, right? LaFleur can dial up, different runs with him. You have Bucky Irving, who's extremely elusive. I just wonder about his vision between the tackles. Torres Ace. Okay, let's look at this. Savage can't tackle. Sick of it. It's up and down, Chris. That's what I'll say. John Kennedy wants Edwards. Fair. Explosive player. Audric Estime is the man. I mean, Brian W says Lloyd is a fumbler. Torres ACL last year, Lloyd. Did he do that? It's possible he did that. He played 9 games. He might have. But obviously, if we go down a little bit further, of course, Henderson's still here. It hasn't been confirmed that he's going back, but he very well could. I really like how well he balances himself at contact. 5'10", 212. He's just going to kind of be that dude. But if we want to go Estime, who's just been outstanding this year, 61 missed tackles forced for, 5'11", 227. And extremely, and the elusive rating for being that big of a player is pretty impressive. Did we not? Whoops. We could still do that, right? Is he not on here? Oh, shoot. Yeah, I keep forgetting Devin Neal is not on this thing yet. Is anybody worried about Christian Watson recurring hamstring injury? It doesn't. Yeah, it does stink that he is not. He is struggling a little bit right now with injuries. I know he's. There's been talk about him. He's just working on trying to figure out what he can do. Right, like he's working on. Okay, if I need to strengthen my back so that the hamstrings are looser and then they don't tighten up, he's going to work on that. Devin Neal, I really like the Kansas back. I do a lot. He did just slide awkward. It was weird, but I do think I think he pulled it as he was decelerating before the slide. But just very weird. Yeah, it was a strange injury. Team Estime. I mean, I'm definitely down for Estime here. I think it's a really strong pick. Big dude, good burst, 4.27 yards after contact per attempt. Like, all of the metrics are telling you, like, this is a really good player. Now, are the metrics 100% right? You never know. Estime, Adam says, feels like Charbonnet from last year. I like it. Estime, 20 years old, 400 total. I mean, yeah, this is your lead back if we're going to take Estime, right? Let's do it. I think everybody's on board. I know John Kennedy might not be on board. I know he wants Donovan Edwards. That's fair. Let's take Estime for fun. Let's do it. I'm in. Let's do it. All right. So Estime becomes one of the backs. I still think they're going to take another one, right? So we'll have that opportunity here shortly. 120. Gets interesting down here, right? Blake Fisher at tackle. Bo Braid at safety. Tommy Eichenberg could go linebacker here if we want to. AJ Barner. If we really want to get like absolutely unhinged, we could do this. Braylon Allen, 6'2", 245, probably closer to 237, but like he's also, I believe, not 20 yet. So I know Brian says my man Blake Fisher is there. Yeah, it's an option. Could go that route. He's been fine this year, I would say. Yeah, I mean, it's been solid. Good game against Ohio State. That's nice to see. So that's a possibility. Big running backs is definitely a Green Bay thing, no doubt about it. Adam. But what do we want to do here? We got options. If we want to double up, obviously Ray Davis, another intriguing name. Todd Brooks. I don't think Sanders is declaring. Blake Watson feels like somebody Green Bay might be in on. He's a little bit smaller though. Oh yeah, is Michigan linebacker decent? I think he's decent. I don't think he's exceptional, but like this is exactly the type of player they like. 6'3", 247. Like, come on. I think it's been pretty good. The pass rush grade is what's bringing him down. That's lame. Don't care. Right? Like, really good missed tackle rate. So, yeah, no, I'm with a lot of these guys here. I think, is Eichenberg special? I think Eichenberg's actually pretty good as well if we go look at the numbers. Let's look at the numbers really quick for Eichenberg. Oh, wow. The PFF does not like him this year. Last year, he was great. That's interesting. A little bit smaller, but not super small. Yeah, right. Dylan estimate Allen, Braylon Allen. That'd be wild, Brian. That'd be wild. I think we need linebacker. Double up running back. So here's the crazy thing, guys. So there's a chance that we could get Braylon Allen still, right? Because running backs don't go very quickly in this. I kind of I'm not mad at Jace McClellan either, to be honest. He's never been the serious feature dude, right? Like, look at the touches here. He's not been overwhelmed with touches, right? Like, he's still a guy, but like, if we want to go Braylon Allen, I'm not mad at it. I think though, I do think Junior Colson is exactly what Green Bay is looking for, though. So like doubling up on Michigan guys, like I genuinely think this is a player they'll like if he decides to declare. So I know Ian wants to double up. Ray Davis pretty good. The linebackers are and just double up for the offensive weapons. I think Colson's pretty good. Like Cedric Gray, 235. It might be a little small. We don't know if these Georgia guys are going to declare. Mondon is pretty small. Dumas Johnson's interesting at 245, but he may go back. Then you're kind of left with not a lot of size at some of these spots. Curtis Jacobs might have some size, 238. It gets really dicey. Like, we're picking at 135. What if we did something cool here? You want to do something cool? Let's trade. Let's do something cool. Okay. Let's do something interesting, shall we? Let's see if Minnesota wants to trade with us. Okay. Let's have fun. Okay. Let's have fun, right? We want 121. We'll give up 35. What else should we give up? Okay, 66% chance. Do we like that? Because we can get both. We can get both Allen and Colson and not mess around. Right? We'll only have a few picks left. Right? We can really put this over the top and offer 3 picks. But we can try it with just I gotta get out of here to reset this. Hold on. We could do it. We could give the Vikings the bait. We could try and see if they'll accept this, right? Do we want to see if they'll accept this? Let's just see if they'll accept this, shall we? That's tough. That's tough. They didn't want it. They didn't want it. Let's see if Indy wants it. Let's go. Okay. So who do we think the Vikings are going to take? All right, we moved up. We moved up, okay? So give Vikings a cheese bait, take Allen. Colson's big physical brick wall. Okay. All right. So chat. We got to think about who Minnesota's going to take. All right. We got to decide. Are we going to take Colson first or are we going to take Braylon Allen? Should we take Allen first? Yeah, see, this isn't even unrealistic, right? Like, we're trading up with the Vikings. We know they do this, right? They want more swings for their, they need defensive personnel. So, I mean, so which one do we take here? Do we take Allen or Colson first? We have to make the right call. You never know what could happen. But we're picking at 120 and 122. We got to decide. What do we think, chat? We got 5 picks left. Let's do it. While chat is deciding, I want to take a look at the corners because we haven't taken one. So what are these late corners going to look like? Oh, there's some names. There are some names. Yeah. Yep, we'll be fine. All right. I'm not in on Allen. That's fair. Brian, that's fair. I get it. But I think it'd be really funny to just pick both, right? Like you have both if Dylan's gone, right? All right. Chris says Colson. I think Watson's really improving, so it's literally just a hamstring. Yeah, I agree. All right, let's take Colson because we want him, right? Yeah, Watson just do some yoga. I think the chat wants Colson. Let's take him first. Let's make sure we got that athletic linebacker. Okay, Vikings didn't take Braylon Allen. We can do it. We can do it here, guys. Let's do it. Should we do it for fun? Should we do it for fun? John, we took him. We got Colson. We got him. Should we take Allen for funsies? I think we should take him for fun. Like, I mean, come on. What else? I mean, we could there's other options, right? Yeah. So everybody in the chat, Ian, Brian, John, all said Colson. We took Colson. I think it gets interesting because obviously we're not picking till 198 after this. And there's some corners. Kyrie Jackson's really interesting. Bama transfer, 6'3", 195. Has had a pretty good year. Max Melton, 6', 190. He's a junior who might declare. Brian would take Ray Davis over Allen. Different style. Nice pick on Colson. Get a duck. I don't mind. There we go. So corner, obviously, Chad, we haven't taken one, right? Like we didn't do that. We didn't do that yet. We didn't take Cooper, right? We took Kinchins. We took left tackle Patrick Paul. We took Chris Jenkins. We took Christian Haynes. Then we took Estime. So we're sitting here without a corner. And like Sainer still is just a slot player, right? Like he's a really good slot player, right? But, you know, I don't think they're going to want that. Mukuba's going to Texas. Marshall's a possibility if he becomes available. 6'1", 203 is a bigger dude. I would love to get eyes on Willie Roberts. Is he a big dude? No, not super big, but not small. Are any of the safeties corners? Got to look here. Because obviously we need corner. And, you know, didn't think about that a ton when we made the move. Yeah, Melton is Bo Melton's brother. This is true, yes. Allen, love a running game with depth. Melton from Rutgers. Think he got a Senior Bowl invite. Yeah, I mean, we could go Max Melton if we want to do that. It's corner or Braylon Allen here, right? Right, it's corner or Braylon Allen. So, oh yeah, you know, I'm not sure. I don't know. There's a possibility, Adam, that he's not even on here yet. That Castro's not on here because I don't remember seeing him getting picked. There's no way he's picked this high. This is the one thing about mocking this early. The degenerates like me, we don't have the full. Yeah, he's not on here. That stinks. He's definitely still there, Adam. He's just not on the freaking thing yet. So, all right. So everybody's kind of split here. Ian would like to do the running back thing, which I think is fun. But maybe we just get corner. Don't mind going for a risky pick. Who's the risky pick? We go Kyrie. At Tampa, Trey mentions, but cornerback's obvious. Don't mind going risky. Yeah, the thing is with running back, crazy as it sounds, like if we want to go keep going like big, we could definitely do this, right? Like Carson Steele, big boy, okay? Big fella, right? Good zone and gap splits as well in terms of attempts. Like they're dudes, plenty of them. 6'209", Rasheen Ali. He's pretty good as well. Like we have options, right? Mayan Williams had an insane year last year. He's 226, big fella. Taj Brooks, 5'10", 230. An incredible season this year, right? So there are a lot of backs. So like I get the Braylon Allen thing's fun, but we could also just grab our corner here and get out of Dodge. Let's do the corner thing because I think we'll get a second running back later. We're just not going to get a guy like Kyrie Jackson. So let's go Kyrie Jackson. I know that running backs are going to come off the board here. It stinks. Braylon Allen's going to come off pretty quickly afterwards. But so was a corner. I can't believe that. Cooper Beebe went in the 150s, guys. That's insane to me. Absolutely insane. Taj Brooks just went, and McClellan. That stinks. Dang it, guys. Dang it. There's still a lot of running backs here. So Pops wanted Allen. Dang it. We went corner. We got Estime, though. So we could, in theory, Jarquez Hunter, been pretty consistent player from Auburn. So we have options at running back here. Isaiah Davis, he's out of his mind, pretty good. Look at these numbers, huh? Missed tackles force 58, right? Has a lot of gaps stuff, obviously, but back-to-back seasons, 1,454 yards, 1,192 yards. It's a South Dakota State Jackrabbit following the footsteps of Tucker Kraft. So if we want to do that, we can do that. He's a big dude as well. 6'1", 220. So there you go. We could go there. Obviously, off field for Davis. Adam, is that who you're talking about? Or are you talking about somebody else? I don't know, Adam, if you're talking about Hunter or not, or Steele. Oh, for the Auburn back. Gotcha. Yeah, but we could go Isaiah Davis. We could also go Blake Watson, who's had a really good career as well. 3 seasons hovering around that 1,000-yard mark and a little bit more. A little bit smaller player, but we could go that route as well if we want to double up here right now. I feel like this is probably the time to double up right over anything else. We could look interior O-line. There's not a lot of names left. Tight end earlier. Oh, I don't know why I mentioned tight end earlier. Our room looks really nice, says Ayers Joy. We just need rushers. Yeah. Hunter. Okay. Yeah, I mean, tight end it's got 3 rookies who are scoring. Like if they got Bowers, would I be upset? No. Right? Like I feel like that'd be very fun. Otherwise, yeah, I feel like they're okay because Tyler Davis probably comes back, right? He takes over some duties with some inline blocking, and you potentially have a pretty full room. Fleming sounds like he's transferring if we want to look at receivers at all. Shepard's transferring. Nesbitt's a tight end, or was listed as a tight end, 6'5", 235. But yeah, what do we want to do? A few picks left, chat, obviously. Winding down here on this Thursday evening. If anybody's interested in how the game is going, let me know. So yeah, I haven't seen a lot of the Thursday night football game, but what do we want to do? We want to get that second back. I think Isaiah Davis is potentially the guy here. So what do we think? Yeah, I think it's either Nesbitt. Yeah, Nesbitt's pretty good at him. So could do that. Obviously, we like our tight end room. I think we go Isaiah Davis or Blake Watson. Those are the 2 players I'd be looking at right now. Chris says Pat's 21-10. Well, we need a more agile route running back. We could go that route. I think that's what Blake Watson gives you a little bit of. Jawar Jordan would be the same way. He doesn't have as big a yards per route run, but he's a little smaller. I'm definitely down with going Blake Watson. He's a little bit smaller, like I said, at 195. He's got 1.48 yards per route run. That'll work, right? He caught 55 for 461. Obviously, trending in the right direction, nearing 6 yards a carry. I like him. I think he makes a ton of sense. Isaiah Davis hasn't done as much effectively in the passing game, so I'm fine doing that. You want to do Blake Watson, or not to keep being a dead horse and looking around here, but there are some guys like Malachi Moore who can play in the slot. Good run defense grade as well. where we probably could get a Blake Watson a little bit later. But it's up to you guys. What do you think? Packer fans are going to be pumped after 7 picks in the first 4 rounds of a deep draft. Yeah, do it. All right, let's do Blake Watson then. We'll snag the second running back here, and we'll get a kind of compliment to Estime. My only concern: Cole Bishop comes off. Oh, let's go. I know what we're doing. I would love to take Camp Ward here. I think that'd be pretty funny. Could go edge rusher. There are some guys that we could look at here. Jasheen Davis is probably the best of the bunch down here. Only what we're wanting for this defense to get Cam Chancellor, so just get a running back because that's not real. I mean, Cam Kinchins might be Cam Chancellor. Never know with range on top of it. So I think we look at edge, right? I think you could obviously add to that room. He did get taken. What? Oh, he did. The Lions took him. You have Branch already, Detroit. Why would you do that? They drafted the same player, but not as good. That stinks. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. That's fine. Tony Grimes could do it. Didn't play this past year, but yeah. I feel like we go edge or we take Cam Ward, right? Yeah, right, Adam. Could we outbid Oregon for Cam Ward? That'd be wild. Just come in, hey. Need you to be the backup. Right. Detroit things, i.e. Jack Campbell in the first. Yeah, amen. Amen to that for sure. I think we go Birch or Jasheen Davis here. I think we go one of these two. Birch is a fine player. 6'6", 290s, big dude. Brim and some upside. Just a junior. Or we take Jasheen Davis, who's a little smaller. I think a little bit better of a pass rusher to this point. And can kind of rotate in. If there's no objections, I'm going to lean the guy who can come in and be the rotational rusher in Jasheen Davis. Yeah, Brian, Lions could have taken Carter and Gonzalez. Very true. Very true. Let's do this so we get this moving along. I'm going to take Jasheen Davis here, edge rusher from Wake Forest. Who's the BPA? Who's the best player available who was bad this year but great last year? All right. Well, let's find out right now, Adam, with this last pick, okay? Let's do that. Great last year, bad this year. Oh, that's terrible. Nope. Proctor's gotten better every year at safety. We could go Proctor. Anthony Belton wasn't better last year. So an option here. J.C. Davis from New Mexico, pretty good pass blocker. Kind of exactly what the Packers would look at. We could triple down at running back. If the system isn't broke, don't fix it. Yeah. The system has been working. Got one more pick to make. Okay, that's really it. So maybe we just go here. Like I know the double down at safety maybe isn't enticing to everybody, but like Proctor's been pretty solid, right? Like I think he's had a pretty solid year. So wouldn't be mad at it to take him here, especially just because of what we see left. Like Cam Ward's obvious. Like we could do that. I'm totally fine with doing that. I think that's hilarious. That he's still here, to be honest. But yeah, what do we think? Lions head coach said they did it for culture, but Carter would have fit. Like, listen, like if they could have ended up with Christian Gonzalez and Jahmyr Gibbs, how could you not do that? Like that makes the most sense of anything, really. Okay, Chris says not the worst thing to double down at safety. I say we do that, right? And then we'll kind of review the mock, and then we'll take some questions. All right, let's take Proctor, and let's see what the machine thinks of this mock draft, shall we? My guess for the grade will be a B. That's my guess for the grade. I guess B. I'm going to look down here. C plus. Wow, they did not like a lot of our mid round picks. That's fine. I love when they don't like our mid round picks. Just means we're doing some things right. So they didn't love the Cam Kinchens pick. Didn't like Patrick Paul being picked a little way ahead of where PFF has him. They liked the Chris Jenkins selection. Haynes, Estime, Colson, Jackson, they didn't love that. They did not like Blake Watson at all. But we get value in the 6th and 7th round. I like the mock. I think it's interesting. I'm going to download it so we have it. And we'll take a look at that when we I'll post it on Twitter. So people can roast us with all of our picks. So there you go. Yeah, fun little mock draft. I'm glad we got into that. Glad we could obviously do questions and stuff along the way. That's always a lot of fun to do. So yeah, if we got any last minute questions, obviously I know approaching an hour and a half. If the chat's still popping, we'll keep going. But yeah, Dan Campbell could have handled Carter. Yeah, I mean, it's just strange. Like, Carter's been exceptionally good this year. He's probably going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, unless Witherspoon maybe wins it. But Carter going 9th to Philly. Everybody ahead needs to take accountability for that, because letting the Eagles get him was ridiculous. Yeah, I would look into Colson. I think he's pretty solid. Like he is exactly the type of big, strong, fast, like athletic playmaker that they're looking for, a la Quay Walker, a la Devondre Campbell. Like that to me feels exactly what they're looking for. Thoughts on the wide receiver corps ready for playoff defenses? I think the receiver corps is solid. Like I genuinely think it's a lot of good young talent there. Reed is really versatile, really explosive. I think you're going to start to see him win some more in the contested spots, just because he did that in college. I think he's going to be able to elevate and win the ball in the air. Wicks is your separator. He's really, really good. He is, I think, second only to Tank Dell right now from the rookie class in terms of a raw separation grade against single coverage. So it's Tank Dell and then it's Wicks in terms of beating man coverage right now. So I like that. Like, I think Wicks and Reed are clearly better than Romeo Doubs to this point. And Watson's kind of your roller coaster guy on this team. I don't think they have their X player. Maybe it's Wicks. It's possible. But, we'll see. Like, I think I don't think like upgrading the room is the worst thing in the world, right? Like, Malik Neighbors would be sick. But I think it's a solid team of receivers. Like, it's a solid young group that I think can really make noise, because I think you feel it. Their confidence is through the roof right now. So, appreciate you dropping in, Brian. Hope you threw a like and subscribe down there. Like said, we do a lot of Packers film room stuff, rookie film room, and we do a lot of draft stuff around here. That's going to be starting really soon. So, yeah, I think I like I said, I appreciate you. It was nice to have a lot of like you, Brian, and a few others who were new to the chat tonight. That was really fun. Who was the last big, and Brian, Merry Christmas to you as well. We should be back here next Friday, by the way, for those who are still here. What was the last big fast Michigan linebacker who went to the Pats? Oh boy. That's a great question. Michigan drafted players history. I'm just trying to think who it is. Who the linebacker was. Because if you're thinking of not the I know who you're talking. Yeah, Cameron McGrone is the guy you're thinking of, Adam. That's the guy you're thinking of for sure. He was 6'1", 236. Yeah, that's definitely the guy. He's drafted by the Patriots, and he is currently on the Colts, it says. He's played in 8 games. So there you go. More you know. Didn't know he was on the Colts. See, a lot of these guys you forget about. Like, that's a mid-round pick, right? Like a third-round pick that we, talked about a ton. No, you're fine. You're good. No, it's just funny. Like he was a 3rd round pick, 76th overall, and we forget about him really quickly. It's crazy. Think about that. Um. Oh, wait. Preach. um. Yeah, if I were LaFleur, I'd put Dobbs primarily in red zone. He does seem like just a touchdown machine. Like he's really good. He is legitimately. I think Dobbs is James Jones. He like makes the easy catches look very difficult, and he makes the tough catches look really easy. It's so strange, and he scores a bunch. So he's a nice player to have. I think red zone is really nice for him. Yeah, where he can elevate. I think I think he'd be a good slot player. He blocks well, right? Like he blocks well, and he gets open against zone coverage. Like that should be where Dobbs hunts a lot. Like he should be hunting over the middle of the field because he can make those tough catches through contact over the middle. Like he's a forward, can play too, but you want Wicks at 2. Yeah. Like if we're in 11, like legitimately, like I want Watson, Reed, and Wicks out there as much as possible in 11. Yeah, I'm in agreement, Adam. I like Dobbs, but yeah, the touchdown stuff, he does get a little overhyped because of it. I do think to this point, Reed and Wicks are better players. Gabe Davis would be interesting, right? Vertical presence with yeah, I think he disappears and then he reappears for some big games. Like that's like he is super interesting. It's very, very interesting. The Gabe Davis kind of conundrum. He was such a vertical plane only player at Central Florida when he came out, and it was like, oh yeah, like this is a fine talent. And then he exploded in that Chiefs game. Just hasn't really replicated it, but he's fine. It'd be interesting for sure. Yeah, this is very true. Like he is so good at picking the ball out of the air when he elevates. And like he can contort in the air to adjust like back shoulder stuff, but like going low is not great. It isn't. Like he struggles to figure out how to not let the ground affect him too much, right? Like I feel like that's definitely very true. He needs to flip with Reed, Dobbs, Reed outside. Like I actually think Reed should be fine outside. Like he played a ton on the perimeter in college. So like that is it is very true. Like Reed can play outside. I almost guarantee it. Brian, I appreciate that. Thanks for the sub. Glad you were here. This was a lot of fun when a lot of guys are, in the chat talking a bunch. Like this is what I want the Friday kind of weekly cheddar to be. Like it's Packers, but it's a draft focus, right? Like it can also be a Packers focus, of course, but I feel like there's plenty of that. Like I want this to be a cool little niche type of show. We can kind of just like, yes, we have Packers talk, but we bring the draft in and we bring in this whole thing into like just team building, right? Like real time, always thinking about team building, right? Yeah, flip with Reed. Yeah, like Reed can be in the slot when Watson and Wicks are in. I'm totally fine with Reed not being the Z when those two are playing. But like if Dobbs is out there, I'm fine with Reed at like Z, right? Like I think he can do that. Yeah, Davis does have a little bit of MVS in him. I think I trust his hands a little bit more, right, than MVS. To this point, we've kind of seen it this year, but yeah. Yeah, it took me to realize that one ball Love delivered that he dropped the game before. Yeah, it is. Yeah, Dobbs is such an interesting conundrum with year 2 Dobbs because it's like it's so exciting when he scores, but like he does make the simple look very difficult. It's a good question, Adam. Am I re-signing AJ Dillon? I don't see why not if the price is good. Like legitimately, like I don't think I was not I was not a big proponent of this selection. I'll be honest. I did not react well. And like, you know what? When we get to 2,000 subs on this channel, I will post a compilation. I will tell all of you guys here because you guys, and there's a lot of obviously core people that participate in the channel. But for those still here listening to this, I'm going to drop because I've done a live show every year, the draft. For those who don't know this, I think a couple of you might. But I will post every reaction that I've had to a Packers pick live, and there's been a lot of them. I've been doing this on live shows since 2017. I think the only one that I don't have a reaction to on the first 2 days of the draft was Rashawn Gary because it was on a YouTube stream. we were trying to figure out how we were going to do the stream because there were 3 of us and 2 of us usually did it together in the same room, but the third guy wanted to be a part of it, so we had to do it on YouTube. That footage got cut, unfortunately. But every other pick on the first 2 days of the draft from 2017 on, I have reactions to. Maybe I'll put a compilation together when we get to 2,000 subscribers. Because there's a lot of W's right in there, and there's a lot of L takes as well. Like the Dylan one is hilarious. You guys will love that one. The Jordan Love one, I was stunned, man. I was stunned. I liked Jordan Love a lot. He was my QB3 in that class. But I was stunned. So that was fun. DeGuara was not this is what I remember about the DeGuara pick is I put together a Packers board that year of all their trends. And I was like, okay, I see DeGuara being a Packers selection because he's a versatile player. He can block pretty well, right? Like he at least did at Cincinnati. I'm like, oh, he's a hybrid player who can catch the football. Like I see him as a priority free agent. Like this seems like a day 3 pick that they can kind of move around the formation. So I was like, okay, he's probably going to be on their board. And then they took him in the 3rd, and I'm like, man, we are not loving it right now. It's not good. Like that was tough. Yeah, Adam, it'll be a good video. It'll be fun. I'll add some audio cue and stuff to it too, with like some bad takes by me and some good ones. It'll be good. Yeah, this is the one concern, right? Like it was if Alexander does not get back to form, corner's going to have to be high on the list. And like luckily in this draft there are a few corners at the top. DeGene I think is included in there kind of. It's hard to my post tomorrow, if you follow me on Twitter at Jake NFL Draft, I'll be posting it there. You'll see like, okay, I see there's vision to playing him outside at corner like DeGene, but I just think there's so much where you can play him in the box, robber, slot, let him play too high. Like there's so much there where I'm on the fence with him at corner, but I'm almost certain he can play safety and slot and in the box. But Terry Arnold, Kool-Aid McKinstry, and Nate Wiggins are very interesting players at corner that I'm interested in. Kalen Carson as well, right on day 2. It's going to be interesting because they have to figure that secondary room out pretty quickly. It's possible. He is definitely the guy that when he's playing well and he's talking a lot, you love him. When he's not playing well and he's talking a lot, you get really frustrated because it's like, man, you're not backing it up. So he's that player who's always going to be chatting. He's going to be chatting a lot. Okay. He's going to be in your face a ton and he needs to be playing well. So yeah, we've had this discussion about Jair in the slot quite a bit. Yeah, it's tough. Adam, I wasn't mad, but I was just like, I didn't know what to say. I was like out of my mind. I remember Andy Herman had like the short list of players before the draft started. He was like, it's probably gonna be one of these 3 players. And Jordan Love was on the list. I'm like, I don't think it's gonna be the case, right? I don't think that could possibly happen. And then it did, and I lost it. Oh, I was outside my mind. That was wild. I assume you were crying over the DeGuara pick. Yeah, that was yeah, a little bit. And I think Love to me wasn't an overdraft. Probably by this summer and last summer as well. I was kind of like, yeah, it probably was. Back then I didn't think so. I thought he should have been picked in the first. But after that, yeah, it was like Dylan and DeGuara, I both had as like, okay, day 3 picks, priority free agents, something like that. They're going to be in that mix. Then they took him on day 2. But if you look at that draft, like it's not like an otherworldly draft, right? Like if we look at the results of that draft, really quick, let's get through these. Malcontent off the field. I don't know if it's off the field. Is it just like, again, his attitude is maybe not for everybody. The way he approaches things, maybe not for everybody. How similar does DeGene have to Josh Jackson? I think DeGene is obviously more versatile. I think Jackson was still like DeGene is positionless in a good way. Josh Jackson is positionless in like where do you play him? Like you're trying to figure out where Josh Jackson can actually play. Where DeJean, it's just more of like, where does he play best? Like he can play everywhere well. It's just like, where is his best? Like Jackson was kind of like, okay, this is cool. Like he's making all these really nice plays in zone coverage, but like it's going to be uber specific where you play him. And Green Bay just did not have the scheme for him at all. I think both DeJean and Jackson could play in cover 3 schemes a lot. But I think DeJean, if you play him at safety, he becomes much more of a weapon. So once he lost, yeah, Jordan Love definitely, his stock dropped a little bit, and like because of his play, the scheme moved, the scheme changed a little bit. He did lose his best receiver. I forget his name, Tompkins, or no, maybe he had whatever. But like to me, Love, the Michigan State game, Love in 2018 was like some of the things you see now, and you're like, wow, how did he do that? And it's like, yeah, he did that in the Michigan State game, and he did that in 2019 too. It was just the turnovers were insane. So yeah, clearly Love has talent, but if you take 3 years, you kind of feel like you shouldn't have been a first round. Yeah, that's fair. Like I get that. And so like I think that's why like earlier this summer I'm like, man, I hope he's the guy, but I'm not super confident because it took a while, right? Like usually you don't see this, but this is just Green Bay, right? I don't mind Rodgers, Wade, and Love had to as well. Yeah, absolutely. The QBs after that draft didn't come out well either. After that draft, yeah. But if you look at that draft, right, it was obviously Burrow, Tua, Justin Herbert, Love, and then Jalen Hurts. That's insanely good. But yeah, 2021 was heralded very highly as a draft class. Like Lawrence is playing well. Fields still figuring it out. Like that class did not do well. 2022 has Brock Purdy, I guess, but that's it. Right? Like and right now 23, obviously Stroud's playing really well. But other than that, everybody else is still a question mark. Even Richardson, who I liked. But I think DeJean fits very great, but if they switch, then he may have to go to safety. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think, like I said, there's a lot of complexity to like how you could deploy DeJean, which I think is really intriguing about his profile. So really quick, I want to bring this up because let's take a look at this. Like if we look at this draft class, right, in 2020, like obviously Winfield, sick pick here at 45. But if you look at where Dylan was picked at 62, look at all these names after this. This is not good. This class is a struggle bus. Like Dylan, right? Like Willie Gay is fine for the Chiefs. Jeremy Chin's been hurt a lot. Logan Wilson's good. Like he's a pretty good player for Cincinnati. Gibson couldn't find it. No, not really. Yeah, he's doing solid for Miami. Brandon Jones. This is the stud in the 3rd round. Justin Madubuike. Who I remember having him 23rd overall player in the class. That's one of my best hits in a while. Was Madubuike. I'm like, I can't believe he went in the 3rd. But everybody liked Josh Jones a lot, right? Thought that might have been the pick. Yikes. It has not gone well for him. But yeah, I think this is fair because he lost the value of the contract. But yeah, Jordan Love looks like a dude now, which is a big deal. Yeah, I know. Ayuk. I remember like when I just ranked off of like what I saw in film, it was like Ayuk's really good. Like he shouldn't be like this fringe top 10. Like he should be firmly near the top 5 in the class. And boy, has he played like it from this class. I really wanted him. Yeah, I really wanted him. I thought that's who they wanted. Then they got jumped. San Francisco jumped him for him, which stunk. Yeah, loved Jeremy Chin. Yeah, really exciting. But like you look at this and it's like, okay, Chin doesn't get healthy, but like Wilson's a good player, Metabuike is a good player. After that, like not much. Jonah Jackson's okay. Cushionberry's like okay. Zach Moss has found new life in Indy. That's nice. Dantzler did not do well. Like Grenard's doing okay in Houston. Like that's not bad for a 3rd round pick. But like you look at this and it's crazy. Asiasi, not great. Duvernay never really found it. And then you get to DeGuara. And you're like, okay, after DeGuara, Alex Highsmith was the man. Alex Highsmith was the guy. but like even that, like I think, sorry, my audio got a little crazy there. Like where was I? The Alex Highsmith was a great player. He's been so good. I remember liking that a lot more than Claypool, but like this draft, it's not that interesting. Like, yeah, Dylan's solid. DeGuara's not very good. But like, there weren't that many picks that where you go, oh wow, this is great. Yeah, Amon-Ra over Amari was a tough sell. Amari over Amon-Ra. I can't believe that. That was tough. They moved up for him too. That's crazy. Yeah, USC wide receivers. That was yeah. There was a lot of mistakes in that draft too. So, but yeah, I mean, it's what it is, right? Like that, everybody's gonna miss. Yeah, everybody thought Indy was coming up. Yep, 100%. Indy, they thought Indy was coming up. So, and Indy ends up picking Pittman and Jonathan Taylor in that second round. So that was a wild night going Jordan Love there. So yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. Barry getting innovative and versatile. I don't think so. I just feel like he knows what he wants to call. Right, he's been in the league a long time. I just don't think there's going to be a lot that changes, to be honest. Like it just doesn't seem like he's going to play more different coverages, right? He plays quarters, he plays some just zone spot drop, right? He plays some cover 3, he plays some cover 4. But like other than mixing up like what the coverage on the back end looks like, I don't think he's going to get suddenly like super blitz happy, right? He's not going to become quarters only, right? Like I don't think he's going to change. I just think they got to get better personnel to handle things up front if they're going to be light in the box. So that's the toughest thing. Yeah, St. Brown. I don't remember St. Brown being super small though, which is I got to think about that. But like I'm in St. Brown. Sorry, that's that bad. I don't think it even was. It's not going to help me. Show me Ross St. Brown RS. Oh yeah, I guess he was pretty. He wasn't that small though. He just it's going to be pretty standard. I don't think the innovation is going to go crazy. Here we go. Who wants me to share? Okay, here we go. Here's St. Brown. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't like insanely high on St. Brown. My co-host for the pod we do on the Packernet Podcast Network, Mason Thompson, had him as wide receiver 4 and he nailed it. But like 5'11 and a half and 197 isn't super small. Right? Like that's Jaden Reed plus 10 pounds. So what are you going to do? Like explosiveness was really good. Agility was fine. He was a great route runner. He did all the little things well. And he went in the 4th round. It didn't make a lot of sense. It did not make a lot of sense that he went in the 4th. I think everybody was pretty much on board with that, right? Yeah, he just did everything like well. He wasn't super like out of his mind in any trait per se. He was just a solid route runner, good hands, some quicks and some explosiveness after the catch. Blocked his butt off, right? Like it was in on chipping guys. Like he did all that, all the little things. And the like mini Cooper Cup stuff is a real deal. Barry just needs Aaron Donald again. That'd be nice, right? Jerzon Newton from Illinois. Maybe they go that route. Yeah, just insane. What a steal. All right. I think let's call it a night after that. We're approaching 2 hours. Appreciate those who have stuck around this long. You guys are awesome. Obviously, Chris, thank you for the super chat and Clayton as well. I don't know if Clayton's still here. But obviously the super chats are much appreciated. Doesn't have to be necessary. But yeah, very much appreciated. Like I said, we'll be back on Friday next week. Just tomorrow is like a big deal work thing. And could not get here, but there will be content on the channel tomorrow. Tucker Kraft film room, Carl Brooks film room, and potentially Quentin Johnston film room as well with what's going wrong there with him. So there might be 3 videos on the channel tomorrow. So there will be content there. There obviously won't be a live show, but there will still be stuff for you guys to check out. And yeah, like I said, I took about a 2-week hiatus a little bit in terms of content, but it should be back in full force now. Yeah, maybe Green Bay did learn a little bit, and they stretched it out. I think they liked Olave too, who was more in that type of thing. I think he was like 6 foot and like 192. So I think they liked Olave. But Reed, yeah, they went outside the thresholds, which means they really, really like the player, and they seem to be right. Equinemius transitioning to tight end is interesting. He was a pretty thin guy, if I remember correctly, but you know, he he just it didn't quite work. So yeah, dodge that one with Johnston. Yeah, it's been not great. I remember, so I went through the film and put together full thoughts, and I was like, okay, Johnston, like, I just don't see it. Like, there's things that make him a rare athlete in terms of movement skills, but like, it just it wasn't clicking for some reason for me with Johnston. 3 guys I really, and I, again, I'm not tooting my own horn because I missed so bad on Tank Dell and really Jaden Reed. I didn't have Jaden Reed ranked very highly, but 3 guys I just didn't love it where people liked them. Johnston was one of them. Hyatt was another. I didn't love it. And Mingo especially was not a big fan. I didn't see a lot there. So those 3 I didn't love, but obviously again, misses. Dell, Reed, I had pretty low. I had Wicks higher than Reed, which, could go back and forth on that. But it was a strange wide receiver class. So thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. EQ was a solid blocker for sure. He was a really good blocker. And I think that's why Getsy brought him over, right? Is to be that kind of player. So yeah, could have been that kind of move guy. But yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, he did. I forgot about that. There's always those kind of single games that guys have really strong performance. You kind of maybe don't think about it very much. But there you go. I'm going to take off, guys. I appreciate it. Obviously, Airs Joy, Chris, Adam, who are still here chatting it up this late. Everybody who showed up, both Brian's, Ian, who else showed up big tonight? There were a lot of you. Pops was in here for a little bit. John Kennedy was in here for a while. Antonio, just a lot of new guys, which was really, really fun. And that kind of interaction is why I do these things, because they're a lot of fun. So hopefully next week, what we'll do is there should be hopefully more like guys that are declaring. I don't think we're going to do a mock draft necessarily every week, but we will definitely just, again, talk Packers rebuilding, and we'll, we'll have plenty of things to talk about. I'll probably, if you guys want to go here, I don't know if I can post links, but I'm going to try it. I should be able to. I'll be writing a lot of stuff on the draft here, in addition to some film room stuff, obviously on YouTube as well. But if you want to catch some of the writing stuff, I'm going to start writing up some guys. Chop Robinson will be one of those guys. Latu. So some of the top guys, I'll start writing up profiles on them, so you can take a look there. But planning on to do quite a lot on this channel for the draft and for Green Bay as well. So thank you guys so much. Yeah, I didn't like QJ. And yeah, thank you all so much. I will see you guys next Friday. I think we'll go like 6:15 Central. Maybe we'll go 7 p.m. Central. I'll set the time for you guys, and we'll get that thing rolling next week. I'm excited about that. It's always fun to chop it up with you guys. Everybody take it easy. Go Pack Go. And yeah, I will see you guys next